been seeing that going on with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore for the last couple of years now. They haven't been able to get on the same page. A lot of people have had opinions on it. I know we have. A couple years ago, last year for sure, hey, Lamar shouldn't do this, that, or the third before he gets his money.
Yeah.
And you know, people have you know, they take their own chances. Hey, we went out there, hey, he's gonna bet on himself, had a great start to the year. You know, things didn't finish out well. Obviously, he was hurt. They weren't playing that great on offense. So now we're in a situation where, once again, your team kind of sets that tone. And with Lamar, he obviously did not get his deal. He got they threw that non-exclusive tag on him, and we were talking about it on Monday. For y'all that don't know, the difference between the money, I know it's 32.5 for the non-exclusive. I believe the exclusive was closer to 50 or 40, what, north of 45 or something like that?
I think it was in between 40 and 50.
Okay, so obviously a huge chunk of money in difference. Yeah. And then once you sign him to that exclusive tag, nobody else can come in and negotiate. The non-exclusive is different. Teams can come in and negotiate a deal. Ravens will have the opportunity to match said deal or trade Lamar and get 2 first-round picks in exchange. Now, we talked on Monday. We said, hey, they slapped that non-exclusive tag on him. He's out of there. There's no chance he's gonna remain a Baltimore Ravens. Team's gonna be lining up to throw those 2 first-round picks and be ready to guarantee Lamar Jackson a deal that he wants. But then once the tag was put on, we saw the Panthers, I believe the Dolphins,
the
Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Falcons,
the Raiders.
I think I saw something today that said Raiders weren't necessarily completely counting him out.
Yeah.
Or pursuing Lamar Jackson and other quarterbacks. There was a few teams.
It was 5 teams for sure. It was 5 teams.
Matter of fact, I'm going to find these 5 teams.
You said Panthers, the Falcons, the Commanders. At the time, it was the Raiders.
Commanders? They came out and said it too?
Yeah, the Commanders said it. And then it was one more team.
Yeah,
and the Dolphins.
Yep. Falcons, Dolphins, Panthers, Commanders, Raiders. Teams that will reportedly not be pursuing Lamar Jackson for a deal. And I believe the Falcons went as far as having a report written and put on their website and tweeted out saying that, which a lot of people around the league, people that cover it, journalists, a bunch of players, former and current, surprised by this. How did you feel on the news, not only him getting the non-exclusive tag, but then the following leaks and sources that came out from the different teams about their plans for Lamar Jackson?
So I wasn't as surprised as the non-exclusive as I was the 5 teams coming out an hour or 2 after the Ravens announced what they were going to do, because I feel like the non-exclusive franchise, I think as an organization, it's like, okay, well, we're having differences of opinion on the number, right? Whatever that number is, the guaranteed number, whatever the case may be. So I feel as though the franchise say, okay, well, we're going to put this non-exclusive franchise tag on you and we'll see what the other teams come back with. And then we can go back at the front office and say, okay, this is what we're willing to do or this is what we're not willing to do. So I wasn't totally surprised on the non-exclusive. But I was surprised as hell on the five teams that need a quarterback. 5 teams that desperately need a quarterback. So
Falcons, Dolphins, Panthers, Commanders, Raiders. For
so the Commanders, y'all were all in on Carson Wentz. Gave him the bag quick, but then as soon as Lamar, like, oh, now we good on that. Like that baffles me. The Raiders, like, okay, you let Derek Carr go. Like, okay, you might be waiting in the draft. You might like one of the quarterbacks, thinking one of the quarterbacks in the draft can fall to you. Okay, cool. The Dolphins, you're not sure what tools, the availability of Tua. I know Tua taking some judo classes to learn how to fall or whatever the case may be, but still, like, getting Lamar in that building with those weapons that, the Dolphins already have, man, and the Falcons, like, the shit baffles me. And we talk about collusion, and obviously, is one of the things, like, we have to prove that these teams are talking to one another. You'll be a damn fool if you don't think the owners are talking at their owners meeting about Lamar Jackson, this situation with the Baltimore Ravens and all this guaranteed money. So again, man, like, this is something that I think inevitably, I think we all know what's going on. You know, a lot of people are talking about it like the owners don't want to pay that guaranteed amount of money. Should they? Yeah, I think they should. Yeah, I'm always going to go for that. I'm always backing the players. I'm always backing the players being able to get as much money as they can get. So for the team to come out as fast as they did, saying that we don't want Lamar, I call bullshit.
Yeah, that was beyond, and obviously to be damn near close to impossible to prove the collusion, you know, unless these, you know, they still emailing each other what their thoughts are. But you got the combine, obviously the Super Bowl, you know, all these different, you know, league meetings, all these different times where ownership groups and front office and agents and everybody get together and get on the same page about these things. And then it gets tougher for a player to kind of break out of where that market has capped them. So I think the Ravens, and once again, this is a negotiation that's been going on for some time now. And I feel like the longer, you know, negotiations go on, the less likely it is for, in this situation, the player to win. You know, they're going to get a good deal, I think, in the end, but to win and get closer to what they want, I think the longer it draws out, the tougher it is. But yeah, I mean, all these people, the Ravens knew exactly what the market was going to be outside of them once they slapped this non-exclusive tag on them. And then it's some things that factor in. So from the Ravens standpoint, from the business side of things, it's a good move for them because now they get to, you obviously, you know, you still have his rights for the next 2 years, I believe, if you want to slap back-to-back franchise tags on them. And now you get a chance for, okay, because once again, your team kind of sets that precedent. Hey, unless it comes out, hey, we offer them 45 a year with X amount guaranteed. Like your team sets that precedent. So now they tagged them to 32 and a half, and it's like, okay, if somebody else you want to find a better deal out there, go and find one. If not, you know, you'll be back here. But I hate to see it. Obviously, you know, the injuries. I'm sure they're holding that over his head. Haven't finished the last 2 years. I think his offense that he's been playing in has held him back, has held his progression back as a passer in the league. We know he can throw the ball. We know he can pass the ball. He can pass the ball coming into the league. Obviously, he's led the league in touchdown passes a couple of years ago. But this offense, you know, a lot of times it'll be 3rd and 9, and they'll have 12 or 13 personnel on the field. That's one running back, 2 or 3 tight ends on the field. Right. When the rest of the league in those situations, it's an 11 personnel league. Number one, first and foremost, you look at the 2 Super Bowl teams, even the Eagles, as much as they ran the ball, that was an 11 personnel dominated team, which is 3 wide receivers on the field. The Ravens wasn't running a bunch of that at all. That offense is not sophisticated at all in the pass game. So I think that hurt him from the standpoint of a lot of teams around the league or coordinators or whoever may say, hey, there's limitation on his passing ability. And obviously his injury. And I think the agent part comes into it. And as this draws out, I think the agent becomes, or the lack of an agent becomes a little more important because once all these conversations are had and not the mix, and that's kind of what's wrong with the ecosystem in a sense too. The players represent themselves, especially when you're dealing with the dollars in that quarterback world. The players represent themselves are put in a bad spot, man, when you're going up against these owners. But so I don't think.
Do you think him having, if he had an agent, do you think this process would turn out different? Because I don't think it would.
I think so.
Like how? Because because again, the agents work for the players, right? Yep. So if Lamar's sitting here saying, "Hey, this is what I want. This is the guaranteed number that I want," because I'm pretty sure, you know, when Darius Butler was up for free agency, you sitting down with your agent, and your agent's kind of going over the landscape and say, you know, nickel market, DB market, safety market, whatever the case may be. This is what it's looking like, you know. And then obviously, you got to be, as a player, you got to be real with yourself. You know, in free agency is tiers, right? Yep. Tier 1, tier 2, you know, guys that's going to jump off or whatever the case may be, right? So Lamar having an agent, he's sitting down with his agent saying, hey, this is what I want. Now the agent, he's there to give you, he or she is there to give you sound advice. Say, hey, you might be chopping at the bit a little bit. Like, you know, look, this is kind of where I'm thinking that we should go into, right? So how do you think the agent would have this picture looking a little different if that's what Lamar decided to do?
Well, I can't tell you exactly how. Obviously, and you probably got more insight to this now with the things you've been doing, and it been out in the combine, for example, the combine. So when we both dealt with free agency, and we knew a lot more coming out of the combine than we knew going into it. Like, okay, what the market is, who's doing what, who's thinking about what, who really got their eye on you, because all these conversations, that's really a lot of these things are about networking and who's in what rooms and the things that are happening in the under, like these teams, these GMs, these ownership groups, these agents, these insiders, these people are not reaching out to Lamar. Lamar not tapped in with that ecosystem. And once again, this is what's a part of what's wrong with the ecosystem, and not only just players, even with just, for example, myself doing some different things in media. Once I hired an agent to handle some different things, the conversations and the information I was privy to changed because of, hey, I've been working with this network for 15, 20 years. So I know this person who's been there, and that person called me and told me this, and that person told me that. So yeah, it's going to be different with an agent like that. Now I thought Lamar, once you're dealing with that top, like a reset the market type deal, which I feel like Lamar put himself in that space based on his play. Agents, I feel like, should become less important. If you're at the top or the bottom of the market, anywhere in the middle, obviously the agents get you more, get you less. But if he had an agent, would he have a fully guaranteed deal, more or even close to Deshaun? Probably not, because I feel like that was just an outlier type situation. But I think we would have been talking about around a $200 million guaranteed type deal with an agent. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And because I also feel like these owners, decision makers, et cetera, also don't want to set a precedence making these type of deals with the players directly, because the agents, they play a part in everything that goes on as well, as far as cornering the market, good and bad. So, but the reality of it is, I think Lamar had an agent that would be closer, or maybe even possibly have a deal done. Is it that Deshaun Watson deal? Personally, I don't think so. I don't think we'll even see that. I don't think we're going to see that with Joe Burrow. I don't think we're going to see it with Herbert or whoever the other next guys up. I don't think we see that deal again, at least in the near future. But hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah, so I only feel that way because to your point, you touched on it. I feel like definitely an agent, guys that's, agents are important. Agents are important. I don't want to, sit here and say that agents are important, but I just feel like in Lamar's situation, being the top guy on the market, like what we talking about, like the market set, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. It was A-Rod. Now we got Daniel Jones. Now we got Darius Butler. Now we got Geno Smith. Like, it's not hard for me. Like, and you've been in it too. It's not hard to negotiate, right? You got 6 quarterbacks that that I just named that got their deal done. My deal should definitely be more than Geno Smith, to be more than Daniel Jones for Kyler Murray. Let's sit down and have a conversation. Again, negotiations it should be that easy, but it's not.
Yeah.
Again, it's like every relationship, it got to be some type of compromise on both sides. But in my eyes, when you're that guy, you're the number one guy in free agency at your position, it shouldn't be that hard. So that's why I say, like, I don't think the Ravens say they wanted to get it done, but how bad did you really want to get it done? I don't think an agent could have helped this situation for real.
I feel like the Ravens want to get it done, but at the same time, the Ravens don't want to overpay what the market is. Now, you look at some teams and them paying their quarterbacks. Usually, this happens, especially an MVP caliber quarterback. The teams, this is done before they even get close to hitting the market. A year or two left. Russ got his new deal before he took a snap with the Broncos. I think he still had 2 years left on the deal, the big deal that he signed in Seattle. So this usually doesn't happen this way. But as we know, situations are situational. Once again, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just saying what I see as the reality of it. And then with Lamar Jackson and his play style, there isn't a consensus around the league you know enough of these decision makers, you know enough of these play callers. There isn't a consensus that amongst players, most players would say, hey, Lamar, hey, that's that dude. If I get a chance for him to become our quarterback, that's the guy I don't want to play against. Yeah, absolutely. But for a lot of the people that I was just talking about, it's not a consensus that, hey, that's the dude. That's the dude I want to build my offense or my franchise around. That's the dude I want to commit $200 million guaranteed to because of his play style or his injury history or the combination of those two. Or a lot, you've heard the anonymous coach or anonymous this come out and say, hey, I don't think he's this or that at the quarterback position. So you also are dealing with that part of it as well. I think what would have helped Lamar more than anything is actually having a legit offensive coordinator in there and him playing a real offense. So that kills a lot of those questions. But it's a tough situation right now for Lamar. Hopefully he comes out and has a big year. Most importantly, this
do you play this year? If you Lamar, if you don't get a deal,
yeah, I'm playing. I'm definitely playing. I'm not even about to play that game. I'm definitely playing. I'm definitely gonna get at minimum right now. What, you getting 32 and a half?
32 and a half.
32 and a half, and then if he balls out, you right back in the situation again where the Ravens are trying to either get a deal done or tag him again. But yeah, I'm playing. I'm gonna play. Just because I done seen the guys take the year off, and I feel like most of the times that don't pan out. Get your money, play, stay healthy. I think last year he should have played hardball going into that year, but now play and get your money, man, and get more of a, I don't know, bump your worth up a little bit more. I don't know. But we know what it should be. We know what it should have been with Lamar going into it, and I hate this is another example, I guess, of nice guys finishing last almost when it comes to this business side of things, because he's been a team guy. He showed up for his team. He's done everything right from the beginning of the end. I felt like Dak Prescott, who was dealing with some of this same shit, he still got paid even after the injury, so it kind of worked out for him.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to flip that switch and be an asshole and get what you want, and then get back to the football. But it's tough, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see leading up, man, to the draft, and even, like you said, throughout the OTAs, off season, man, just see how it pans out over there in B-more, man.
Yeah, man. We gonna see. I'm rooting for Lamar, get his bag, have a big year. Still so young in his career, has won so many games, like a 75% winning percentage or something crazy like that. It's offense, man. It's an offensive coordinator. I'm still not very excited about this college offensive coordinator I brought over, but